for cancer. This is Jody, and I have been living with stage 4 cancer for the last 5 years. Actually, technically, it has been much longer. I would say 9 years, but the last 5 years, it has moved into metastasized into my bones. My diagnosis is stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, triple negative, which means all of my hormones, the hormones in the cancer, were negative. Long story short, it's very, very difficult to treat, and it eliminates a lot of treatments that would work for breast cancer, won't work on triple negative. Things are changing, and there are new stuff coming out, so I am very hopeful. Today is going to be an old-fashioned sit-down conversation and talk with you guys. Haven't done one of these, like really formally done one of these in a very long time. So I'm a little bit nervous. I even took notes because, you know, all the years of chemo and the radiation and all that stuff in my brain and age, and I'm Jody. My brain, sometimes I just can't find the right words. I see them like floating around in front of me. I know they're there. I know the meaning. I know what I wanted to say, and they just won't come out. So excuse me when that happens, because sometimes it happens a lot when I'm really tired usually, or nervous, like right now, or just sometimes the words just flow right out and I'm okay. So let's hope that today is one of those days. All right, so the topic today is end-of-life discussions, and when is it time to have that end-of-life discussion? Now, many people think, oh, end-of-life discussion means that it's going to happen right before you go into hospice and right before you're passing away. Do I want a DNR? Do I want, who I want there? How long, if any life support do I want? Do I want half? Do I want partial? At what point do you just stop everything and let me go? That's what most people think when they think of end-of-life discussion, right? And I am right there with you. And I have really thought that for many years. But through my journey and through my experience living with cancer, I have learned that it is not just that. Okay, so I'm going to go over just a little bit of background and kind of throw out some perspectives out there. And then I'm going to throw out some facts. And then we're going to end with what my decision in regards to this is. All right, let's get started. There's two different perspectives. There's the medical diagnosis, their perspective on end-of-life care. Now, their end-of-life discussion is usually medically. When there are no more treatments, your body's starting to shut down, and we can't do anything more for you, that's when their end-of-life discussion comes in. Okay? It could come back even before, you're not in the hospital and you're not all dying, but it could happen like, well, okay, we can't do anything more for you. We could try this. We could continue chemotherapy. We could, but really, we could try some trials. But so that's another way that you might hear an end-of-life discussion. Okay, and I have heard that one. So, okay. Now, when people talk about stopping treatments, and like, I'm just going to give up, I'm going to stop all treatments, and I'm just going to let nature take its course and die. Okay, well, that is a personal choice, but often that's not the way things go. Usually your body has been through tons of different treatments, you're exhausted, the disease is taking over, and mentally, emotionally, you're drained. So a lot of times that decision turns to the family, and they get to make that decision. So there's that. Okay, another thing about stopping treatments. Okay, it's a personal choice, yes, but as I just said, sometimes it turns into your caregiver's choice, not your own, because you have gone too far and you are mentally, emotionally not capable of making that decision. Now, in my own experience, I stopped treatment. It was my own personal choice. I went to the doctors and met with the social worker, met with all my team of doctors, and they were like, okay, we have done 2 trials, we have done blah, 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 blah. And if you want to know my history, I'm going to go ahead and try this again. I don't know what's wrong with YouTube, but post a link up here, because last time it didn't fly. In YouTube Studio, it was there, but then when it aired, it was not there. So I'm assured by the YouTube Studio gods that it's not going to be a problem, because it was a glitch in the system. So anyway, I'm going to post a link up here so you can go back and find out my whole history of cancer. But for right now, I'm not going to go into it. But there was a time not that long ago, we sat down and we said, okay, we have done this, 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 and this. And really, there are no more trials that I was interested in doing. A lot of them were on late stage patients that didn't have any hope of survival, which I know I was in that category, but my body was still, and my mind, everything was still saying, fight, 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 live, live, live. And these trials would have most likely been beneficial to others, because scientifically they could, go back and study what went wrong and all that, and that's fine, but it wouldn't have been beneficial to me. So at this time, they were offering just palliative chemotherapy, just, maintaining what was there just with chemotherapy. But the problem with that, it was killing all the other parts of my body. It was killing my mind. It was killing me. I couldn't get out of bed. I missed Christmas with my family. I was literally bedridden. And to me, that is not life. So I made the personal choice to quit all traditional treatments at that point. And when I say all, it just means chemotherapy basically, and some random trials, because there was nothing that I hadn't already tried. Okay, now when there's palliative care versus hospice care, now that is something that everyone kind of puts together in one big ball. I know I did until just a few days ago. Palliative care should begin the moment the disease begins. When you have been given a diagnosis that is terminal, which I have, that's when palliative care actually can start. Now, with me, every time the doctors would talk to me about this, they would say hospice. They never used the word palliative. And I just said, I don't want to hear it. I'm not doing that. No way. Because in my mind, I thought that was giving up, number one. Number two, it was just having the nurse come every day and give me medication to make me comfortable. And I'm not home enough for a nurse to come and make me comfortable. I was still out working part-time and trying to survive, trying to pay the bills and live life. So hospice to me was like, it was just so far from where I felt like I was. And yet medically, when the hospice nurses and the people, the team look at your paperwork, they aren't looking at you. They are looking at your diagnosis, and they are saying, yep, this person's ready for hospice. But I was not ready. This person was not ready for hospice. So, but I was ready for palliative care. And because of the way my medical place works, they don't have a real good, strong team, in my opinion, of jumping from here I'm dying to here I'm dead. There's no in between. It's just like they kind of jump over to what happens when you don't die and you still have the disease and you are still viable. Your life is still pretty doggone good. So that is something in the system that I think I would like to address and something I would like to change while I have the time. Okay, so palliative care is for advanced care planning, pain, symptoms management, and caregiver support and training. Okay, now I know that a lot of times when you hear palliative care, it still just means like, okay, we're going to take care of you until you die or until you go into hospice. But really, it is not. I talked to a palliative care nurse and social worker this week that set me straight. And I really wish I had done my homework way before this, because I think that it could have alleviated a lot of stress on myself. So she explained how it worked, and she said it was perfect for people in my situation and that I was not alone. There was a lot of people living with stage 4 cancer that are technically in the statistics you should be gone, but you're still here. So what about you? How do we take care of you? And that's what she addressed with me. And we talked for a good hour and a half, and I felt so good about things when I was done. And that's why I am doing this video. Okay. From palliative care, during palliative care, you sit up, you can talk to your family. Now this is the perfect time while you're still, you're there, the medications and your body's not shutting down. This is the perfect time to use your palliative care nurse or social worker or doula. They have doulas, and I thought that was incredible. It's just like a person that comes alongside and says, okay, like say I want to write letters to my family and leave them. Okay, they would sit there with you and write them out, keep them until after you pass them, give them out. That is amazing. Okay, other than that, they help you formulate the words, the timing, and what you want to say to your family, how you want things to go once you do get to hospice. Do you want to die at home? Do you want to die in a nursing home? Do you want to go straight to a hospice? What do you want, and what does that look like? And that's what your team will tell you. They will be very straightforward and honest, because a lot of people say, oh, I just want to die at home. Okay, sometimes dying takes a long time. And sometimes that can be very scary for the people around you. So just a lot of things to think about. They give that to you. So you can start thinking about it, so you can start planning and having that talk with your family members. Okay, so after palliative care and after everything is completely done, there's nothing left to do, then they decide usually 50% of patients go into hospice the last 3 weeks of their life. Okay, that means they have been able to maintain and keep going, and they've been trying different drugs, they've been trying different things. They've been in the fight for a really long time, most of the, and they are now at a point where, okay, let's talk about hospice. And hospice can, in my medical facility, they call palliative care hospice. They're interchangeable. But hospice is when they come at your last days, months, sometimes can be a long time. And one thing that I was really concerned about, because I have been at death's bed before. I've been sepsis from the chemotherapy. I have been she's not going to make it. And then I bounce back. My question is, if I go into hospice and start doing better, feeling better, do I have to stay there? Of course I would think that, but no, you don't. You don't have to. There's a limit of time where after a while they say, hey, wait a minute, this person, is doing really good. Let's transition back to palliative care, so they can have more freedoms and more support in that area. Because a lot of the support does drop off when you move on to hospice, because a lot of the work is assumed to be done. Not always true, but what will happen when you keep living beyond your medical diagnosis. Now that is me. Statistically, I should have been dead within the first 3 years, and then the second little 5 years max. That's what I'm told. Most people with my diagnosis are dead from the time that their cancer starts to metastasize to the time they die is 18 months. That's the majority. And thank God I'm still living. But I do know, and this is what changed my perspective on this, I do know that any time my tumors could move, and the roadmap that my tumors take will be my brain. And I'm not saying that I'll die instantly when it goes to my brain, but I do know that once it hits your brain, it's going to be harder for me to make decisions. And so for me, having that talk sooner than later is my goal, or has been my goal. Okay, now let's see. So when is it time for this discussion? Well, it's all up to you. But I'm hoping that by giving this information to you guys, you will act sooner than later, because sooner or better before you're exhausted mentally and tons of medications have been impairing your judgment. So sooner than later. And then if you don't die, woohoo, yay. But at least you have it in place when everybody is not so emotional and so worn down and so exhausted. You need to sit down and tell and speak your mind. This is time. Tell your family member and your palliative social worker, your doula, your support person outside of the family can really help you do that. If you don't have a good communication with your family, or you're scared to upset them, that's always been my thing. Sometimes my family jokes a lot, and I was afraid they wouldn't take it seriously. I knew they would, but I was like, oh, they're just going to joke this off. They're not going to sit down and listen to this. So that was one of my concerns. So, and happy to say that wasn't the case. But we all have these preconceived ideas how our family's going to react to something, right? Our siblings or parents, we think we know each other so well. But why don't we just give each other the chance and then work from there? So sooner the better to have that talk. End of life talk, care talk. Okay, it's up to the patient. It's up to you, obviously. Sometimes family members will jump in when they see you so sick and they think, okay, we're going to do this. But you have to say, wait a minute, I already have that planned. Talk to my social worker, talk to my palliative care nurse, talk to my doula. It's all there. It's all set in writing. So there's no back and forth struggle, because your needs, your wishes are already they're there. So, okay, now where am I in all of this? I kind of have told you a little bit where I am in all of this. But as of lately, well, for one, I quit. I didn't do any treatments for the last, several years. And except for the bone treatment, Zometa, the strengthening of the bone. But chemotherapy, radiation, I stopped because I had maxed out from what they could give me, and it wasn't working. Okay, so now during that time, I got a new a new tumor on my sternum that has not been treated by radiation. So now they're thinking, hey, we could go in and we can go ahead and zap that puppy and see if we can, get rid of it. That's one less met that I have to worry about spreading. Okay, so they can't do it on the rest because we've already done it, been there, done that. But we can, because it's a new spot, they can go in and do that. So I've opted, telling everybody today, I have opted to start back into treatments and go ahead and let them zap my sternum. I have agreed to one round, if one set, and if it does not work, then that's it. Because I refuse to just keep wearing my immune system down, wearing my body down, when chances are it's not going to make any difference anyway, because I've got tumors in my spine and in other parts of my body. So that's what I've decided. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to give it a try. It might be able to reduce it. It's a new spot, so it'll be more likely to be receptive. So we're going to pray and hope for the best. So, but I'm not looking for a cure. I am looking for more time, and that's where I'm at right now. Okay, now, I have also decided to go ahead and start palliative care, hospice, but not hospice, palliative care. Even though it's going to go down in my paperwork as hospice, it is palliative care because they just put it all in one big ball there. And if this lady is right, and I'm pretty sure she is. But anyway, so I will be able to meet with my social workers for my drugs. I don't have to fight with the there's a thing again, with the pharmacy about my medicine, just all of that kind of stuff will be taken care of. And that is going to be such a huge relief on me, because I hate feeling like I'm begging for my drugs or begging for not even just opiates, any medication. If I run out of any of my nerve blockers or my nerve medicine, anything, then it affects my quality of life. And whereas maybe somebody else could be on the same medicine and run out, they're not dying. They're not on a time limit to where their quality of life, if I get my quality of life messed up, I don't have that much time to get it back. So I am pretty on it, when it comes to staying on my regimen of medications and such. Okay, so that is why I have a better understanding of palliative care. And after talking to this lady, I am really interested in talking to a doula, end-of-life doula. I don't know. Just kind of think it over and kind of play with it and investigate a little bit about it. So, and the reason why I am making this decision now is because, like I said, my disease, the next choice or the next place it will most likely traditionally goes to, is my brain. So it could just move through more of my bones, and then my brain, I don't know. But the next step is the brain. So I want to make these decisions now. I want to make sure that it's taken care of so I can go, and everyone around me can do the same thing. And then if I don't need it, praise God, I don't need it, All right, now, someone had asked me if, how I manage my pain without opiates. Okay, number one, I take morphine. I do take morphine, and I'm not ashamed of it. And many, 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 if not all, cancer patients at my stage are on opiates of some kind. A lot of them are on fentanyl, Percocet, Norco. There's one that starts with a D that I can never ever remember how to say. Anyway, all of that. I have been very, very fortunate to be on the lowest dose and be able to live that way. But I use other methods like my bubble bath, the jacuzzi, nice hot, warm, water, heating pads, ice pad for my spine. A lot of times people say, doesn't ice hurt your spine? I'm like, no, because it's not muscular or anything. It's the tumor it like burns because it's working with the nerves. So I put the ice pack on and it just numbs the whole thing. So that's what works for me. And sometimes if it's more of like cold bone ache, like my hip often gets, I will put a heating pad, on that. So it just depends what kind of pain and how much pain I'm in to what I do. Another thing that I am sold on that I absolutely love is CBD pain freeze. I I mean, I know many of you already take it, and I think terminal doesn't mean goodbye. Hi, Carrie. She just got it for the first time, and she said it rocks, right? So that is always on my bedstand at all times, because when the arthritis and the inflammation gets in my joints, that for me is pretty much the only thing that works. So CBD pain freeze, that's my go-to. Heating pad, ice pads, ibuprofen. I cannot take Tylenol because they took my kidney out, so all I have is one and it's not good for it, blah, blah, blah. So I do that. Oh, another thing for bone pain that I didn't know for a very long time, but I learned it when I was doing Zometa is if you take Claritin, I know Claritin, over-the-counter Claritin with ibuprofen, or they say Tylenol, but I can't take Tylenol, so I substitute for ibuprofen, and it works. The bomb. It is better than any morphine tablet you could take for specific bone pain, like that, like your bones are cracking inside, feeling after Zometa. That's the only thing that would help. I was, they were like trying to up my morphine, and I'm like, it's just not working. It's just making me sick to my stomach. It's not working. And then the pharmacist told my husband, have her try Claritin and Tylenol. So we did, and I'm telling you, it is a savior. So CBD pain freeze, Claritin and either Tylenol and ibuprofen, heat, ice, and I have done the needle thing, acupuncture in the past for my spine pain, and I think it actually helped, but it's just not convenient to, have done that often. And my battery is about ready to go. So I am going to tie this up before it does, and I'm going to tell you guys thank you for watching today's video. I hope that it helps somebody. And everything I've talked about, everything I wear, everything, my face makeup, my pain medicine, my supplements, everything is in the links below if you'd like to shop them. I do get a small commission off the affiliate links, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but they're down there for your convenience. And a lot of times you'll get discounts attached to that. So go for it. All right, you guys, I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you being here with me and following me and part of my journey. Now, this is TubeBuddy.
Whenever you're down, out in the cold, faithless and dark, your story's untold. Come take my hand and walk there with me. I know a place where we can be free. There is a light shining for you, guiding your way, helping you through. And shadows and gloom are all that you see. We'll find a place where we can be free. From the mountain top down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun shining in the darkest alley. Can't you see you will be free? I have been far, I have been wide, searching for peace, somewhere to hide. Now I am free, open and pure, fearless and babe, I am secure. There is no dark that can't be lit. We'll find a way if we just commit.